Hello and welcome to viewers on Facebook and YouTube. We have a Talking Scheidt Cup final special this afternoon. Of course, it is ahead of Rangers versus Celtic on Sunday at Hampden, the big game that everyone's been looking forward to. We've got Dougs and Aidan with me to discuss everything that's going to happen. So yeah, we'll just get cracking on to it. Guys, you all right?
Yeah, bad yourself?
I'm good, thanks. Yep.
Brilliant. 2 days to go, of course. But yeah, Doug, we'll just kind of start generally on the sort of occasion itself. Two big teams in the country going head to head in a derby, packed Hampden. It's going to be a big spectacle, of course. Hopefully lots of fireworks and just hopefully a really competitive match for the neutral as well. Just really looking forward to it, aren't we?
Yeah, it should be a brilliant game. I think both teams are going into it in brilliant form, obviously. Celtic are scoring goals constantly. I mean, I think it's something like 40 goals in 10 games or something like that. It's ridiculous. Yeah. And Rangers are scoring plenty as well. So it's two teams that are really good just now and in good form. So it should be fun to watch. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be an interesting one.
Yeah, and Aidan, you're obviously going along to the game for Football Scotland and to capture some video content. I suppose none of these fans will want to come anywhere near you at the end of the game if they're in the losing side.
Aye.
But, you know, these kind of games, that's what the fans live for, especially Celtic Rangers, a big cup final, a big derby. It's going to be brilliant, isn't it?
Oh, I think it's got the potential to be a really entertaining game. I think. I just want to say to people if they're watching, I'm having to record this on my phone just now just to explain the shakiness of my camera. But yeah, I think it's got really good potential to be an entertaining game. I think the both of them have obviously been. I mean, Celtic have been in great form all season long, and Rangers certainly since Michael Beale came in. So
yeah.
I think it's going to be a great game to watch. I'm sure both sets of fans will be sort of equally excited and absolutely racked with nerves going into it, won't they? Especially when there's a cup up for grabs between them. It's that wee extra dose of bragging rights. So yeah, I mean, even just as a neutral myself, I'm really looking forward to watching it. And as you said, guys, I'll be hoping to speak to some people afterwards, although one set of fans obviously might not be so keen to do so, I'd imagine.
Yeah, that's what it's like, the joys. But yeah, I suppose before we get to anything else, sort of the game itself, there's been a lot of build-up over the past sort of few days. There's always plenty of talk before a cup final, especially against the Old Firm, usually from pundits. But I suppose we didn't really expect Fashion Sakala to face the media and get under the entire Celtic fan base's skin over the past couple of days. He's come out with a few things. The other mob jibe to Celtic, that was quite entertaining, certainly for the media, for us. And obviously it was reported sort of yesterday that, he's saying that sort of Rangers are so much better than Celtic. So it's sort of brave sort of quotes from Fashion Sakala, especially in front of the media. But Doug, I've got a wee feeling that he's not going to be put in front of the media really again before an Old Firm derby, especially a cup final, with the sort of comments that he's made. But what do you sort of make of that?
Yeah, I think Rangers might be a bit more careful with it next time and try to stop him talking to the media quite so much. But I like it. It's entertaining. I think too often now we've got footballers who are scared to say anything. They're so media trained that they don't say anything. So it's good to see a player come out and just stoke things up a wee bit. I think I don't really think he probably fully understood what he was saying in terms of the other mob and stuff like that. Like it's not anything bad or anything like that, but it's probably just a wee bit disrespectful. But you know what? So what? I think probably in the past, earlier in the season under Giovanni Bronckhorst, Rangers were probably a bit too respectful to Celtic at times. Whereas you see that under Steven Gerrard, they were more willing to get into their faces and try and get into things. I think that's probably coming back under Michael Beale as well. It probably makes for a more interesting game too. I think it adds a bit of dig to things, and it definitely makes it more interesting. I think you look at over the years, Scott Brown was a master at it of winding up Rangers before the games, and Callum McGregor's done it as well. I mean, we've seen that clip last year of the game where he shouted in Barsic's face during it, stuff like that. I think it's the kind of thing that we want to see. I mean, as long as it doesn't boil over into the fans at the game on Sunday, then it's what you want. It's a big derby. We claim it as arguably the biggest derby in the world, so you kind of have to expect these things. All this stuff about it being disrespectful and unfair is like, come on, just let it happen. I mean, like over the last couple of years, we've seen it. Even Celtic refused to say Rangers' name on Twitter. It's always the opposition and stuff like that. So, I'm all for it. I hope it continues for as long as possible.
yeah, there'll be people complaining, but us, the media, we are certainly not complaining. It's good for us. It's some lines for us that we can report. But yeah, I suppose, Aidan, from a sort of Celtic point of view, it's almost like free motivation, isn't it? Hearing those sort of words, it's just free motivation for the players to go out there on Sunday and prove them wrong, basically.
That's it. I mean, it was one of the ones when he made the other mob comment. I thought, Celtic players probably won't. They won't care. The fans might care, but I doubt the players will care. But yeah, the latest stuff where he's saying we're by far the better club and everything. I mean, yeah, that's it. It'll probably fire the Rangers players up as much as it will fire the Celtic players up. Rangers ones will be like, we'll go out and prove that.
Try and prove it right, yeah.
Try and prove it right. Celtic players will be like, nah, let's show who the best team in Glasgow is, kind of thing. So, as you said, it's free motivation, but I've got to agree with Dougs. I don't have a problem with it whatsoever, and I'm not just saying that because I'm in the media. And it's obviously good for us to hear those kind of things. I mean, at the end of the day, what he's saying, it's just a bit of banter, isn't it? There's nothing particularly wrong with what he's saying or that. It has got the danger to sort of come back and haunt him, but that's a bit as bad as it is. You know what I mean? It's a good laugh at the end of the day.
It's all just talk, isn't it? And all adds to the fire, fuel to the fire. But yeah, Neil McCann obviously has been sort of speaking recently, and he's quoted here. I'll just quote what he said. I don't think Beale has ruled out the league title yet. The treble is still on the go, and this is a huge cup final for different reasons. Now, that's a great line as well for us. So for a good week in terms of those sort of lines. But Doug, Michael Beale has been on record saying that the title probability is low. I think that's what he actually said. So what do you really think his sort of end of season targets are just now? Obviously, if he comes out of the season with, say 2 domestic cups, starting on Sunday, and maybe even misses out in the title, which is probably going to happen, it's still a very good season, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I think that's probably is what he's aiming for. I think he'll always have that hope that he can go on and get that 9-point deficit back down and win the title. But I think everybody kind of accepts that that's just not going to happen. I mean, look at it already. I think that's 13 games that Rangers are unbeaten in, but they haven't managed to claw back any of that deficit because Celtic have been so good as well.
Yeah.
So it just kind of says it all about how good Ange Postecoglou's team has been since he came in. Really, I mean, they've been unbelievable. Like you can't deny that. They've been absolutely brilliant. They've been ruthless against every team they play against. So yeah, I mean, I think he'll accept that the title's probably gone, but he'll be going for both cups. If he managed to get both of them, then it is a great season. It's the fact that he wasn't there for the first half, first part of the season, as well, adds to that. But yeah, I think Neil McCann's probably just trying to win back a few Rangers fans after his Alfredo Morelos comments a few weeks ago, and doesn't actually really believe that treble's on either.
Yeah, you're probably right in that one. Right, okay. Sort of threats for Sunday. Obviously, both sides will have an eye on each other in the sort of lead up to this game, of course. Well, obviously focusing on themselves, of course. But Aidan, the sort of Celtic threats for Rangers. Where in the park does sort of Michael Beale need to be wary of? I think maybe the midfield battle is going to be key on Sunday. Celtic are so used to dominating games in the middle of the park, and that's going to be key for the Rangers midfield, whoever it may be. It's still up for debate who may start. There's plenty of sort of injury problems that Michael Beale has sort of had to contend with in the build up to this game. But that midfield battle is going to be really huge on Sunday, isn't it?
Oh yeah, absolutely think so. I mean, I mean, when you think of what Celtic have got, even like, I think the majority of people are probably assuming that like it'll be what Moy, Hatate, McGregor starting. Even if for whatever reason one of them don't start, the guys that Celtic have got that can come in.
Yeah,
it's as you say. Then it's just it's frightening. So I think that is probably the area of the pitch where Michael Beale will be looking at the most, as you say. That's going to be the biggest challenge on the day, I think. I just think that Hatate has he's just been brilliant all season, hasn't he? Yeah. Even in recent weeks he seems to have turned it on a bit more. Moy, obviously, since he's come back from the World Cup, he was brilliant at the World Cup for Australia. He's just been amazing for Celtic since he's come back as well. So these are going to be that is going to be the big battle on the day, and then as I say, you've got Callum McGregor just doing what he always does. He's just Mr. Calm kind of thing, isn't he? So that is going to be tough for Rangers on the day, especially as we know they've obviously got these injury problems to the likes of Lundstrom and Tillman. There's no guarantee that either of them could be playing. Raskin has looked good from what we've seen so far. But yeah, it's going to be a different story in an Old Firm game, isn't it? So yeah, I would agree with you guys. I think that's the main battle on the day is going to be in midfield. Obviously, we know what the likes of Kyogo and Jota and so on can do up front, but I think if Rangers are going to get anything out of this game, then they really need to win that battle in midfield.
Yeah, and just on sort of Celtic, dude, I mean, Ange Postecoglou is really big on just focusing on himself, nothing else. That's what he tells us to the media. But he will have a wee eye on a couple of the threats that Rangers might pose on Sunday. And, you know, you've seen in the build-up, though, with Fashion Sakala, you know, if he's starting the game, his pace is going to be really difficult for Celtic to deal with. You know, you saw that in the last Old Firm game when he just tore Juranovic apart. And he was, you know, having a hand in the goals as well for Rangers. And you saw, I think, against Livingston, you know, sort of last week, you know, they tried to send Sakala down the sort of wing and be a bit more direct with Sakala on the wing with his pace. So that's something that, you know, Ange Postecoglou will be sort of looking out for on Sunday. That's somewhere where Rangers could hurt Celtic.
Yeah, definitely. I think we've seen it in all Farm games really since Sakala joined. He's played quite well in a few of them. I think the one at Ibrox in January is probably the best of them. I think we thought he was brilliant that day.
Yeah.
Caused a lot of problems for Juranovic when Taylor went off. But even looking back at last season, the Cup semi-final at Hampden, he was excellent when he came on that day. Played a big part in the winner, and as well at Celtic Park. I think it was just after that as well. In the 1-1 game when he scored the winner or scored the equaliser and should have got a winner as well. He hit the post with it.
Right,
so he's caused Celtic a lot of problems. I think just his pace and the fact he's so unpredictable, it causes anyone problems. So as much as Postecoglou will be looking at him, is like, I don't think Fashion Sakala knows what he's doing half the time, so Celtic aren't going to know what he's going to do either. I think him and Ryan Kent are going to have a big part to play for Rangers if they're to get anything out of it. I think Aidan's right as well. The midfield battle is so important. Again, looking at the semi-final last year, I think John Lundstrom really bossed the midfield in that game. Fair enough. Probably should have been booked in that game and didn't get a yellow card. But if he can sort of put in that sort of same performance again, then Rangers will be better off if he's fit. And again, like I said, Kent and Sakala are so important, the way they attack and the way they play. And as always in these games, Morelos will have some sort of say whatever he does. He'll either score or he'll get sent off or he'll do something. He always does. This is what he's built for. He wants these big games. He always turns up in them in one way or another. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But I definitely think Sakala is probably Rangers' most threatening player just now in these games. Like Mark Tillman, I don't know whether he's going to be fit or not. He's obviously not trained this week or didn't train at the start of the week according to Michael Beale. But he's not really shown up yet in Old Firm games in the 2 games that he's played. So it's going to be interesting to see how he does now if he plays on Sunday. He's obviously been much better since Michael Beale came in. He's been absolutely brilliant. I think he's probably been Rangers' best player. So it's going to be interesting to see how he does in a game like this, because this is the kind of game that if Rangers are going to pay £5 million for him in the summer, they want him kind of taking these games by the scruff of the neck. Not fair enough. It's all well good doing it against Partick Thistle, Livingston, and all the rest of it, but he's got to do it against teams like Celtic as well.
Yeah, and if he doesn't start, then you probably think that Cantwell would maybe come into the team. Would that be right?
Yeah, I would say so. I think he's probably the two of them are fighting out for the same position in this game.
Right.
And I think Cantwell's done well as well since he came in, and I think he's probably surprised people with how physical he is as well. He's been able to take a few hits, especially in the game at Tynecastle when he came on. I think he got kicked 4 or 5 times, and he just got straight back up and got on with it. So it's been interesting to see him deal with that, because I think a lot of people, particularly at Norwich and down south, probably thought that he wouldn't really be able to cope with that when he came up here, but he seems to be quite happy to get stuck in, so that's interesting to see. I don't think he would start this game if Tillman isn't fit, or if Tillman is fit, but yeah, he's definitely a capable replacement for him anyway.
Right. Okay. We'll stick on the sort of team used and predicted 11 sort of things. We did a wee article with sort of both Rangers and Celtic's predicted 11. So we'll just kind of go over that. But as we've been saying, you know, Michael Beale has been contending with a few injury sort of doubts over this week. Obviously, as we say, Tillman and Lundstrom, the sort of big 2. So we'll sort of read out the predicted 11 that we sort of put out this morning. So we went with McGregor in goals, Tavernier, Goldson, Barisic, Lundstrom, Raskin, Tillman, Sakala, Morelos, and Kent. That's probably what we think will go.
Just Davis in there as well in central defence.
That's right, yeah. That's right. Missed that one out. But Davis, of course, that sort of picks itself, really, the back 4. But But yeah, Diggs, would you have any sort of debates over that lineup? That's probably what you expect we'll pick on Sunday.
Yeah, I think if everybody's fit, then that's the team that gets picked. As far as I'm concerned, anyway, for Rangers. I think maybe the only argument you could have is if Ryan Jack's fit, then you could argue that you'd put him in. But
right,
I think as things are, then it'll be that team. If Lundstrom and Tillman are fit, it's the team I would pick anyway. If I was picking it, I think fair enough. Raskins just joined; it'll be his first Old Firm game, so people might be a bit concerned about that. But I think he's shown enough in the couple of games that he's played to say that he wouldn't really look phased in it. And then Lundstrom is very important to the midfield battle, like I mentioned already. I think even in the game in January when he went off injured in the second half, Celtic kind of got back into it after not really being in it at all in the second half. So I think he's important. And again, like we said about Tillman, yeah, I think that's probably as close to the team as you could predict. I think it would be a surprise if Michael Beale selected anything different if those 11 players are fit.
Yeah. And just on the sort of Celtic 11, we'll move on to that and what we think Andrew will pick. We've gone with Hart and goals. We've got Johnson, Carter Vickers, Starfelt, Taylor, McGregor, Moy and Hatate now potentially. It could be sort of Moy or Matt O'Reilly, but we went for Moy and the front three of Jota, Kyogo and Maida. And I suppose, Aidan, the good thing for Ange Postecoglou is that he's working with a full sort of clean bill of health in terms of his squad, and that's really going to be a huge benefit for him, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, as I was sort of mentioning earlier as well, I mean, we think that's the team he's most likely going to go with. But if he does want to make any changes, he's got guys that can come and just slot straight in, and they're just as dangerous. So Postecoglou's definitely had a much better side of things this week in terms of the injury situation, and that he's, as you say, he's pretty much got a full bill of health in that Celtic team, and that's only good news for Postecoglou. It gives him plenty of options, and even when it comes to making substitutions, and he's probably got based on the fitness situation for Rangers, he's probably as things stand at the moment, he's got a better bench to choose from as well, doesn't he? So it's only a positive for Celtic in that regard.
That was my next point actually, Dukes. You know, that could be a big factor on Sunday. The fact that, you know, when Ange Postecoglou makes subs, it's just incredible that the talent he's got on the bench. You know, they could easily make the first team every week, but you know, a lot of them are sitting on the bench. Players like Haksabanovic, O'Reilly. It's just a great sort of you know, benefit for Postecoglou, and that could really help him on Sunday. You know, as opposed to Rangers bench.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's probably what's going to have the biggest say in it, in the game and in the result. I think if you look at Celtic's bench, if they go with that 11 that we think, then you've got the likes of Lila Bada, Matt O'Reilly, David Turnbull, Haksabanovic, like mentioned. All looks good after coming in. He's not played much, but it looks decent. They've got 2 players for every position, really, so they are a quality side. So yeah, you'd expect them to be able to make those changes and stay just as strong. Especially if this goes to extra time or anything like that, and you just look at the depth that Celtic have, you'd expect them to win based on the size of their squad and what they have, whereas Rangers don't really have that just now. I think if Rangers' full squad is fit, then they have it, but as we've seen this season, they just can't keep their players fit. I think really on Rangers' bench on Sunday, you're probably looking at the likes of Kamara Roof if he's fit, Antonio Cholak, Yanis Hadji is another one, but again, he's just back from a year out. Scott Wright, is he really going to come on and make a huge difference?
Yeah,
probably not. Like, he's done it in wee bits, but probably not in a game like this. So I think it just shows the difference in the depth of the squads. Whereas like players like Tom Lawrence would have, who else is still out injured? Stephen Davis, Scott Arfield, all guys like that you would expect to make an impact off the bench just aren't fit, and that's probably been Michael Beale's biggest problem now.
Yeah, we've just got a couple of comments actually just on the sort of predicted 11. Johnny's commented in, and he's actually put out the same 11 that we've read out. And he says that's the team that's going to win the League Cup. So he's pretty confident. And he's saying as well that he's bet that the Celtic bench is highly superior, which I think what the point we've made just there. So Johnny agrees with that. Just another comment there we've got from Antonios. Having the ability to change half the outfield players as quality subs is a huge advantage for Celtic. Again, the same point that we're hammering home. And we think that's going to be a big advantage for Celtic on Sunday. So thanks for the comments for everyone watching. But we'll just wrap this up now with the predictions and how you think the game will sort of pan out. Aidan, what do you think?
Well, I think it'll be. I could see it being quite a close game. I think both teams are going to score, just based on what we saw in last month's game at Ibrox. Obviously, so I think it's even with the injuries, I think Rangers are obviously still going to give a good account of themselves. They'll be totally fired up for the game, as they should be, given it's an Old Firm game. Celtic, I think, have just been absolutely rampant all season, and so for that reason, I'm thinking that I would think Celtic are still going to win the game, albeit I think it'll maybe be like 2-1. I think it'll maybe just be like the one goal that's in. It could be a 3-2, but I'll go with 2-1 for Celtic.
Yeah, so it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be an easy ride for Celtic. You know, they have been so dominant, Dougs, but it's going to be a tight one, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, I'd probably agree with Aidan there. I think it's probably going to be a 2-1 Celtic. Again, I think that the squad depth is going to have a big part to play in it. I think Rangers will stay in it for a long part of the game, or you would expect so anyway. But then when Celtic make those changes and just get those fresh legs on and they can run at Rangers again, I think that is where it'll tell. So yeah, I would probably go with 2-1 as well. But I genuinely wouldn't be surprised if this went all the way to penalties in this game. I think both teams are in really good form. You don't really know what's going to happen in a cup final. Anything could happen. So yeah, but I would predict 2-1 just now.
I suppose for all the neutrals, I think that's what we'd be hoping for, a sort of penalty shootout, extra time, you know, high drama. That is what we want in a cup final, especially an Old Firm one as well. So yeah, we're all looking forward to it. It's going to be a cracker on Sunday, so looking forward to it, of course. But yeah, Dougs and Aidan, thanks very much for joining me for the wee preview show. I'm sure we'll be back next week to dissect the game as it happened. So yeah, join us for that on Facebook and YouTube. But for now, thanks for watching, everyone, and we'll see you all soon after the final. Thanks for watching.